adequate time, 21 to 28 days, to recover from the actual physical aerification, and then also leave 4 to 5 weeks for decent, good golf. You know, so we can schedule summer events and tournaments, and guys are happy to be playing in the summertime, especially in the morning hours. Our 3 core aerifications here at Grasslands are April 25th to the 29th, June 20th to the 24th, and August 15th to the 19th. So mark the calendars. Get these golf guys to get you some scheduled golf at other clubs and during those 15 days, and you won't be unhappy. With that being said, those 3 aerifications are essential. We're trying to impact 15 to 20% of the green surface area. That's the question that Matt's going to take over. And how much aerification is enough?
All right, how much is enough? Our goal for aerification, 15 to 20%, like Kevin just said. I know it seems like when you're out there playing, we've ripped up the entire green. Holes everywhere. I feel like 3/4 of the green is just shot. But that's really not the case. We get this 15 to 20% from a number of different places. Numerous research from universities. Todd Lowe, USGA agronomist, talked to him. He recommends the same thing. It's very similar in his ultra course to bent grass. So a lot of the research on aerification is similar.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's how we break down how much we impact each time, why we do it 3 times. When we go out in April, our first aerification, we use a 5/8 inch tine, and we go at different spacings each time. That is to impact different percentages to ultimately get to our goal. Our first aerification, we end up impacting only 7.7% of the entire green. That is using a formula that you go through once you find your tine, you find spacing. In this case, it's 2 inches by 2 inches. And come up with the equation, we've impacted 7.7%. So from there, we go, okay, well now, what can we do to get into a range over the next 2? We're going to second aerification in June. This time we can go a little bit less. We use the same size tine, but this time we go a little bit bigger spacing. So we're impacting slightly less, but we're still impacting what we need to get to, 6.3%, with the same tine, just different spacings, which is all settings on the machine that you've seen outside. After those 2 first big aerifications, you get to the 3rd one, we've already impacted 14% of the green over the first 2. We don't need to go very big the next time. So since we can go smaller, and just to help out with play, and during our last aerification, we switched to a smaller tine, a 1/4 inch tine, and with the smaller tine, we only end up impacting 2.5% of the green during our 3rd aerification in August. So that brings our grand total to 16.5%, and our goal is met. You can get away with a smaller punch at the end, happier golfers, and we've still got to where we needed to be. So really, each time we do it, we're really not messing up that much of the green. It may seem like it, but it's not so bad. What areas get core aerified? Obviously the greens. The #1 biggest thing we need to get to. As I mentioned before, we use a 5/8 inch tine. We got them right here. Give those out. Pass those around for people to look at what we use. They go 4 inches deep. They go 4 inches because your thatch layer is normally the top inch or 2 where your roots are. So you want to get down past the thatch layer and remove it plenty. So 4 inches deep. Then the spacing I talked about. And the plugs you see laying across the top of the green. You want to remove the plugs as soon as you get done because you're trying to get that thatch out of there. There's no sense in brushing it right back down in the holes, or what's the point? So, you punch, you come through with big like squeegees and shovels and guys, and we push them off to the side, shovel them up, remove them, clean off the green, and get it ready for sanding. Come through with the top dresser, smother the green in sand. I guess that's the next slide. No?
More pictures.
You smother the green in sand. You put down, you're trying to fill the entire hole, so you're trying to get 4 inches deep in every hole with that sand and fill in every hole. We go out, we brush it in. If we see there's holes that are still open, we'll add more. So we need to get every hole filled in to the surface. Here's just some pictures. This is me coming across the putting green. As you can see here, it's a straight line, but it's at an angle on the green. That is, each time we punch, we go at a slightly different angle, just to make sure. If you punch the same direction every time, you might be punching the same holes. If you switch up your direction just a tad, you have a better chance of impacting different parts of the green than you did the time before. That's why I said that little angle. And then here's just a picture of once I got done with number 3 and left the green. I took a picture just to show you what an entire green full of clubs looks like before we get to it to start cleaning. So, top dressing. As I was saying before, you come through once we're done. You top dress them, smooth it out. You have a steel drag mat. We have numerous different drag mats. This is the first one that you come through when you have a lot of sand on the green. That, spin it in circles, and eventually works all the sand down into the holes. The sand, why you put sand down is sand is very porous. You want water and air to still be able to get down in those holes, and you want roots to have somewhere to go. You can't, if you put dirt or soil that's similar to what you took out back in, then you're creating the same problem. You need those roots to have somewhere to go, somewhere to breathe, water, somewhere to go. So sand is very porous, sand helps all that. Alright, on to the tees. A little bit different from the greens. Our tines are a lot bigger on the tees. They're 1 inch in diameter. They, in some cases, can go 10 inches deep into the ground. The tees, they get much harder. They're much harder out here than the greens. The greens are built on sand originally, so they don't get as hard. The tees are built on the same slimy clay that he was talking about. They get very hard. You need a very heavy-duty, deep tine. You want to get down there to drive those roots. These go machines. This is subcontracted out by us for tees and fairways, because for a tine that large, you need a machine that's very, very large and very heavy-duty and very strong. And we just, at the time, we don't own a piece of equipment to be able to use a tine like that and dig that deep into the tees. The tees are just too hard. So we subcontracted. They bring their big old tractors in, these big tines. They go across all the tees. Just like the greens, we remove the cores, but not. We usually go in and blow them off to the side and vacuum them up afterwards. It would be way too time consuming to take guys and push them off the tees and remove them by hand. So they are blown, vacuumed up, and off we go. Just as the greens, we backfill the holes on the tees with sand as well. We do this because we have only 3 acres of tees, and it makes sense money-wise. You always want to top dress afterwards if you can. If you can afford to do it, you want to get out there and top dress the holes. You want to get good material back in there. You don't want old, crummy material that you just pull out and go back in there, or it's empty. So we backfill the tees with sand, and once again, it helps with the roots, water. Overall, over time, you're practically redoing the subsurface of the tee over a 5-year period without having to actually take out the grass and regrass and start over. Here's just an example of the different tines that's going around. Adam has the tee tine in his hand. You guys have the greens tine. The greens tine much smaller, 4 inches, small, tine very large. Up here, onto the fairways. Basically the same situation as the tees. The fairways out here are